Hey guys, I'm RozaldVaneGAME, and welcome back to another episode of Zero Time Dilemma. Last episode, we basically kind of went through the last bit of cutscenes. I do want to start off with an apology from the last episode, or at least the last sessions, plus the last episode, the previous episode. I wanted to finish it, but I think I started having a headache. Like, I didn't say it because I was just so tired, and then plus a headache. I think it's because it was so much like information, and I got information overload that I actually had to say, hey, I have to stop here so I can just like take a breather, take a break. New week, obviously. So it's a whole new session and whole new week. Frankly, if this is the session, then yeah, this will be probably the last episode of the series. But I do apologize for those who wanted, not a cliffhangery ending sort of thing. So how I started for this episode, the game booted me into the cutscene a little bit too further away, like very further away. So I skipped ahead all the way to the point where it stops allowing me to skip, and so I'm thinking this is the point where we were at. I think Diana was about to say something, so I don't know. Like the skip button disappeared, so I just like, oh, I hope I didn't accidentally go too far past whatever the point was. But yeah, hopefully we'll get to that. So let's finish this game off once and for all. I am only missing this last branching point. My prediction, when after finishing the series and getting a few days of break, I started thinking like about the game and thinking like, oh, maybe the way they're gonna solve this is to make us all go back in time to the very start, because in the branching point, it's not fully completed apparently. So I think that maybe we're all gonna go back to we're all gonna rewind time and try to do something about Zero or something, or prevent Zero from existing, essentially, this particular Zero from existing. So I'm guessing that's probably what's gonna happen. But then, of course, the guy did say that regardless of what happened, if we don't stop Free the Soul, essentially, the world's gonna lose everybody, because Free the Soul plans on killing everyone by nuclear bombing everything and stuff. So it's just like, yikes. But I don't know. I mean, a lot of the things had happened previously because they had a domino effect via a butterfly effect. So that's what it ended up being, was the reveal from the last episode. Or at least for the last few episodes, at least. Yeah, let's get into it. Do I have any memo things? Yes, I do. Vive Hode! Vive Hodei. Hudai. Okay, anyways, let's get back.
一体どういうことだ
おい、答えろ。今のアナウンスは何だ。
説明が必要かね。間もなくこのシェルターは爆破される。君たちは力を合わせて艦内の自爆装置を動かしてしまったのだ。
ショーン、中央制御コンピューターにアクセスして。
無駄だ。
Yeah.
一度始動してしまった強制終了プログラムはいかなる手段をもってしても停止することはできない。
じゃあどうすれば。
一つ、いや二つ、君たちにいいことを教えてやろう。まずはバーカウンターの裏を覗いてみるといい。
Wait, what? Why would the bar counter have something?
嘘だろ。
Another dead body?
こんなこと。
Oh, Gabu!
カブが
Wow, what?
カブを殺したのか。
I don't think so.
ああ、そのショットガンでね。
Never mind.
どのみち奴はもう長くはなかった。
この人でなし。
まさかショーン、君に言われるとはね。
もう一つは何なの。教えること二つあるって。
私にはマインドハックの力がある。
そ
Okay.
の話はもう聞いた。
Oh no, he's gonna use
だ
him.
が、このことはまだ言っていないはずだ。マインドハックでできるのは、誰かの思考を読み取ることだけではない。
Yeah, he did this with Eric
ほん
last
の
time.
一瞬ではあるが、人を意のままに操ることができる。
Yeah.
例えば、こんな風に。
He's gonna kill Eric? Or kill himself? Oh, he killed himself. Interesting. So now we won't get the answers to getting out of here, and we're gonna all die again. Or we're all gonna die in this group, as this group.
エリックさん、
Why?
違うんだ。指が勝手に。
マインドハック。
I mean, that explains why certain people voted the way they did, probably, because Zero, aka, Delta, sorry, I'm trying to remember his name. Delta was probably there in that room, and he was able to just cause people to do things based on what he feels. Like, that's why when the vote happened, in some cases, he essentially forced them into doing that by mind control.
わかっただろう。これが私の力だ。
Bruh, you should be dead already. You can't
で
be
は
speaking.
始めよう。最後のディシジョンゲームを。君たちには2つの
Go back in time.
選択肢がある。一つはここにとどまって死を待つこと。そしてもう一つは
Shift!
一つは
Shift. Obviously, it's a shift. He knows that they know. Dramatic effect.
おい、もう一つってなんだ。
Why do you
も
care
う
so
一つって
much?
何なんだよ。
Junpei, why do you care so much? You already know the answer. Everyone here knows the answer. It's to shift out of here. But of course, I don't think we can all shift far back to the years ago, even though it's possible, but it depends on how strong they are.
爆破まであと5分です。
一体どうすればいいんだ。X ドアは？
どうやって開くっていうのよ。6人が死なない限り、
Yeah.
あの扉は開けないわ。それとも、ここで殺し合いでも始める？
No.
ミラー。
It's useless. It's also interesting because Mira was in on all of this, and she still pretends like she's not.
考えがあります。
Shift.
なんだ。
シフトするんです。みんなで一緒に。
But Mira and
おい
Eric
待て
can't.
よ。別の歴史に飛ぶっていうのか？
These two
で
can't.
も、私とエリックは。
きっと大丈夫だよ。ほら、教えたでしょ。人間の意識は脳内の量子的な作用によって生み出されてるって。
そういや、ある特定の条件さえ揃えば俺たちもって。
何なのよ、その条件って。
But didn't you just hear, Sean? Like, literally, like, Delta said that, like, hey, these two don't have the talent for it. These two actually only have mind hack, to be more specific. So you can't really just obtain another ability on top of mind hack. Delta's the only one who can only do mind hack, but he's only able to know consciously what that person went through by only mind hacking or reading their minds, essentially. So essentially, he only knows of the possibility because the person shifted. If the person shifted, then all that these two need is to mind hack a specific person or a group of people to know what's going on in terms of who they are or where they came from, because that memory is still reserved in their brain when they shifted. So yeah, I think that these two definitely would have to use that ability. I don't think they can shift out or anything.
一つはその人の身に危機が迫っていること。そしてもう一つは
すぐ近くにたくさんのシフターが存在することです。
そうか。すると共鳴作用を起こしてミラとエリックも。
だがどこの歴史に飛ぶと言うんだ。
To the very start.
この近辺の歴史ではダメだな。必ずどこか一チームが投票によって処刑されてる。
飛び移る肉体がなければシフトはできない。
To the very
そういう
start.
ことですね。だったら全員が生きてる歴史に飛べばいいんです。
全員が生きてる歴史？
まさか。
The coin flip time. Alright.
コインの裏表が当たった方の歴史か。
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. That makes a whole lot of sense. Where it just ended just like that, abruptly.
爆破まであと3分です。なんかよくわからないけど、明暗じゃない？
何を言っている。そんなことできるわけがないだろ
う。どうして？
Yeah.
シフトは単に別の歴史の肉体に飛び移るわけじゃないんだ。
入れ替わっちまうんだよ。こっちの意識とあっちの意識が。
要するに向こうの意識はこっちの肉体に飛んできて、わけもわからぬままに爆死するってことだ。
それのどこがまずいの？
どこがって。
彼らはどこか別の歴史でのうのうと暮らしてるわけでしょ。たった一回コイントスの正解を当てただけだっていうのに。
True.
それってなんかずるくない？
ミラ、君は今彼らと言ったが、それは他ならぬ自分自身のことなんだぞ。
いや、果たしてそいつが本当に自分自身と言えるかどうかは。
確かに今ここにいる自分こそが本当の自分だとするなら、別の歴史の俺たちはほとんど他人と変わらない。だったらなおさらだろうが。
もし俺たちがあの歴史にシフトしたら、他人の命を犠牲にして生き延びることになる。
あの歴史の私たちには何の罪もありません。
Yeah.
たった一回コイントスの正解を当てただけなんですから。
それを言うなら俺たちだって同じだ。たった一回コイントスの正解を外しただけなんだからな。
Wait, are they arguing on the fact that I'm a little confused. Are they arguing for the fact that they don't want to leave the coin toss loser versions of themselves behind, aka themselves right now? Like they already lost the coin toss here. So what's even the point? You can't even save yourself. All those versions are dead, essentially, or at least have the worst outcome, aka the one that turned us into VLR, which is actually what ended up happening because of that. Yeah, and then each outcome had a different different group of people dead. So I don't really think it matters that much because you got all the memories retained from all the past versions of yourself, so you should have seen that certain groups already died, so it doesn't make sense to even come and save the losing team.
にもかかわらず俺たちはこれまで散々な目に遭ってきた。
But it doesn't make you
命がけの
forget.
選択を何度も何度も迫られて。
そもそもその歴史の肉体って俺たち自身のものなんだよな。
Yeah, those part of the body is your history anyways. But it's also weird because it's like I'm thinking of Junpei at the time when he started in the whole damn thing where it's like 999. Like, dude, you had to like do your very best to get like Akane out. So like, you know, there's two versions of Akane here, you know? Like you save Akane and that's the one that got out, but the one who didn't get out had to take the fall for it. But you couldn't save that person either because you weren't there and you couldn't be there. So it makes no sense to be here. I guess maybe because he has a chance here, but I don't know. I feel like Junpei should have just let it go because he's been through this before, like once at least, as of this version of him. And then when he's older, it's like probably like 3 times at that point.
だったら悩む必要なんてないんじゃない？
Yeah. Sean. Just get out, damn it. 1 minute. Yes.
あと1分です。
時間がありません。もう一度言います。
Screw you, Junpei.
選択肢は2つ。ここにとどまって死の瞬間が訪れるのを待つか、別の歴史の自分たちを犠牲にして生き延びるか。
Yeah.
それが奴が残した最後のディシジョンゲーム。
Let the cycle repeat itself or try to go for a different history, essentially. This is a no-brainer. I'm just gonna go shifting out. What the frick is this? Oh, there's a timer too. Does it matter? I don't think there's an achievement that matters about not shifting. I don't get how that works. There's only one choice, technically. Oh, he just kicked us out. How dare you, game, kicked us out. Okay, so there's that exclamation mark at the very start, showing up for the first time, and then there's a mystery at the bottom. I'm guessing you have to get all the nodes anyways. Let's get the crappiest ending, actually. Yeah, let's get the crappiest ending first. We're just letting ourselves just fall. I'm gonna go back to this because we need to clear everything in order to get the achievements to getting all the nodes unlocked. So might as well just get the worst outcome and then the best outcome. Better to just get it over with like this. We already know what this outcome looks like. or at least some sense of it's already.
ここで
At least some sense of the outcome is already kind of given to us. So we know what's gonna happen here anyways. End it all. I just hope it doesn't prevent you from using the other one, because that would totally suck if that stops you from using the other one. Time to say goodbye, guys. Eric is like, oh no. I mean, he's the one who killed a bunch of people, so no. Of course, it's going to be 2 outcomes. It has to have 2 outcomes regardless. Wow. I mean, we've seen this before, I bet. Because we pushed the button. There was like at the end of the healing room, it's like, push the button or not. And then this is the kind of explosion we get. Please say game over. Thank you. That's all I wanted to know. There we go. Oh, the achievements. D team subject report, Q team subject report, C team subject report, achievement unlocked. That's 3 achievements right off the bat, because you cleared out pretty much the whole CD and Q teams thing. So that's all that achievement. So let me save it on the last point, because we're pretty much on a new save, or new episode means new save anyways. Okay, we're on the last thing now. So that is this thing. So here we go. The last part of this. And the final ending for the whole darn game. I also should probably read the cinematics before we move forward, maybe? Let's get a little bit of a cinematic read before we pay off too. Oh, so the second ending with a payoff. I want to pause and read the cinematic files because I want to get it out of the way. I do apologize for this. I apologize for that. This must be fate. Fate? Diana smiles weakly from the bed at Sigma's question. Don't you remember? You told me that yourself. Me? I never said it. If it really was me, then... Yes, the Sigma who was 67 inside. Diana shifts her frail hand closer to Sigma, and he gently grasps it between his own. The Sigma before her is not the one who was trapped in the shelter. It's the same body, but a different consciousness. On April 13th, 2029, Sigma was at the headquarters of Crash Keys, his eyes and arms replaced with robotic ones. There, the young Sigma returns to his body from 45 years in the future and began to carry out Akane's instructions. How many years has it been since you came here, Diana? Oh, I've a little over 3. I think I followed you here in May 2029. I'm not reading it with a voice, so I do apologize. I'm just trying to get this reading done at least faster. A violent coughing fit takes over after she speaks. Sigma helps her sit up and softly pats her in the back until it subsides. Why didn't the medical pod work? I told you it's fate. Diana's skin is deathly pale, but her eyes will still shine with life, just like a child's. I've always dreamt of coming here. Did you know that, Diana? It is the name of the goddess goddess of the moon. I wanted to do this ever since I was little, so I'm perfectly fine with dying here. What are you saying? I mean, Diana is like a Greek name. A Greek goddess of the moon is Diana. Goddess of the moon is a Greek mythology character, I believe. But yeah. Anyways, I've been able to spend the last 3 years living with you, Sigma. I have treasured every moment. Sigma lowers his head, his expression pained. Please don't make that face. You don't need to be sad. In the year 2074, you will shift back to Christmas 2028, and the next day, old me will head to the decom facility in the Nevada desert and meet you. Diana nods. Sigma closes his eyes and shakes his head. That's not it. I mean, I'm in love with you. His declaration stops as Diana's lips close over his in a kiss, and rests in his words. The rest of his words are lost. So she basically kissed him and she died, I guess, or got close to dying. After a moment, Diana murmurs, "It must be a wonderful future, the future where we found each other in 2028. Sigma holds on to her tightly. Aching, heartfelt sobs echo within a cold, silent world. So she did essentially just poof, dead there. Baby Phi was indeed transported from 1904 to 2008, but a Phi also remained in 1904. That's true. I was wondering about that. Whatever happened to that Phi? I think that she probably grew old and died instead. Rumor is she became a brilliant scientist and worked at the science research facility in the U.S. well into her hundreds. Yeah, she did grow old, so I was right. The facility was researching the transporter, and that's where Phi from 1904 is sent. So she basically paradoxically, I think it's called, maybe it is, paradoxically gave herself, or the baby Phi of 1904 worked to maintain the transporter so that the Phi in 2008 can come back safely, which is kind of like proper because she needed to stay alive long enough so that the baby Phi would the baby Phi of 2008 can live securely, and she probably sent that baby Phi of 2008 to a family that she knows who will take care of her well, and that's probably what happened. And then of course that young version of Phi probably retained a lot of that memory because the old Phi probably shifted herself into baby Phi of 2008, because I think that might have been what happened. And then unfortunately old lady Phi of 1904 probably died alongside the whatever it is, I guess. Maybe. I might be wrong. But it makes sense, though, if 1904 Phi transferred herself into baby Phi. But I wonder how the hell Delta was able to survive so long, though. Makes me wonder about that. I hope I can use that as a thumbnail, but I doubt it.
くそ、ダメだ。思い出せない。
俺もだ。
私もです。誰かに何か賭けみたいなことをさせられたような気もしますが。
誰かって？
賭けというのは。
So essentially all the memory of that one side of losing the coin got wiped out completely for this team. So that's probably what it was. Okay, so that's what Junpei was afraid of. Because I was still confused why he would not care.
我々は全員
Or why would he
記憶をなくしているのか。
ねえ。っていうか、一つ聞いてもいい？
Hmm?
この子、誰？
What? Sean. Oh, is Sean gonna transfer the memories into these people? Because he... Oh no, there it is. There's a shift. Aha! So they did... So that's the ending of that previous thing. And now we're getting the real ending. Oh, baby. Kind of weird that they all got knocked out when they shifted out. Oh my god. But what about Delta?
成功したのか。
バングルがないので時刻はわかりませんが。
太陽の方角からするとおそらく正午近くだな。
日付は？
さすがにそこまでは。ねえミラ、エリック、僕のこと覚えてる？
ああ。
はっきりと覚えてるわ。
ショーン。
じゃあやっぱり。
うまくいったってことか。
運命とは理不尽なものだ。
Oh, so Delta did come out again.
そうは思わんかね。
Oh? Oh, he's not in his wheelchair, though.
お前。
今から17年前。公園の細い小道を一匹のカタツムリが歩いていた。
Yeah, he's telling us that same story.
もしそのカタツムリがいなければ、ここにいるすべての者たちの人生は、今とはまるで違ったものになっていただろう。
Indeed.
たった一匹のカタツムリが、人々の人生を狂わせ、世界を変える。
I would like to call it the snail effect, not the butterfly effect.
だからなんだって言うんだ。
Shut up, Eric.
わけわかんねえこと言ってんじゃねえよ。
Gabu, at least he's not dead. Jesus. Gabu died.
無事だったのね。
Gabu died last time.
無事なのは当然だ。君たちは別の歴史からシフトしてきたのだから。
So he expected that.
とにかく警察に通報を。
Doesn't
そんな
matter.
ことをしてどうするというんだい。
Yeah, you don't have evidence of your past self dying to his traps and stuff. So it doesn't matter anyways because there's no evidence to show that.
決まってるだろ。 無所にぶち込んでやるんだよ。
With what evidence?
何の罪で？
Yeah.
殺人罪だ。
But you guys are all alive
殺人。
here.
なるほど。だが私は誰も殺してはいない。
Yeah.
そもそもこの歴史では一人の死者も出ていないのだ。
Yeah.
警察がまともに取り合ってくれるとは思えんが。
でもあなたは確かに別の歴史で。
What history?
聞かなかったかな？私にはシフトの能力はないのだよ。
Yeah.
私が別の歴史のことを知っているのは君たちの頭にマインドハックを仕掛けたからだ。つまり君たちが知っているあの私と今ここにいるこの私は別人ということになる。
Actually, this also kind of basically has a problem here. This is a plot hole, isn't this? Isn't it? Because if they didn't go to the experiment, then that means Sigma and Diana would never have a kid to transport. They would not have Phi or Delta to transport back to this particular branch. So how are these two supposedly alive? Wouldn't that be a plot hole for itself to make? Right? Now I'm confused. Let's see. Let's see what he has to say.
他の歴史で人を殺したら罪に問われるのかね？
Yeah, it doesn't work like that.
もしもそうだというならこの世界は罪人であふれかえることになるだろう。
Huh?
だったら
Oh, that's
殺
true.
人予備罪っていうのは？
そうだな。この歴史でもあのシェルターに物騒な仕掛けが山ほど設置されてるのは間違いないだろうし。
残念だがその仕掛けだったらすでに撤去したよ。君たちが眠っている間にね。
Yeah.
もうあのシェルターには何もない。トランスポーターも量子コンピューターもすべてトラックに乗せて移動した。
Wow.
今ショーンが動いていられるのは衛星回線を使って電波を受信しているからだ。
Huh.
どうした？なぜ喜ばない？
Yeah, you guys aren't dying
も
anymore.
う一度言うが、この歴史では一人の犠牲者も出ていないんだぞ。私とファイはこうして存在しているし、ラジカル6が漏洩することもない。
But how are you guys born?
我々の行く手には明るい未来が広がっているばかりだ。
Wait. So you're saying just by doing this, we don't get free the soul doing the same exact action of nuclear bombing everything? I'm confused.
最高のハッピーエンドだと思わないか？
I don't know. It's still questionable, I think. This is so questionable. I don't know.
だがお前はこのまま何もせずに時が過ぎれば人類は一人残らず滅亡するって。
You warned us.
一人の狂信者がテロを起こし、それがきっかけとなって核戦争が。
その話なら俺も聞いたぞ。その狂信者とやらを抹殺するためにラジカル6をばらまいたってな。
Or at least a group of people.
その話をしたのは今の私ではないが、確かにその通りだ。
この歴史ではラジカル6が世界に拡散することはない。
すると狂信者が死ぬこともなくなって。
逆に人類は滅亡しちゃうっていうの？
Oh. In one of the historical paths, or one of the branches, I think that Delta said that the leader of the Free the Soul was actually himself, wasn't it? Yeah, because I think that was what he said, because he told Diana that, like, hey, like, if you want to prove me wrong, why don't you get dressed as, like, one of the fanatics and watch how this whole thing plays out after Radical 6 came out with whatever, that Radical 6 finally spread or whatever. So I think he supposedly is the leader of Free the Soul, I think. But we're just not seeing it yet, because we didn't really connect the dots just yet, because he hasn't said it.
おい、それのどこが明るい未来だって言うんだ。
ファイ、君は今怒っているのかね？
What does that matter to you?
なんだと。
もしもそうだとしたら、それは大いなる矛盾だ。
Contradiction?
私は別の歴史で20億人が生き残れる未来を用意したはず。
Yeah.
にもかかわらず君たちはこの歴史へと飛んできた。 60億人が犠牲となる未来ではなく、80億人が全滅する未来を選んだということだ。
Wait, so is he guilt shaming all of us? All 9 of us? Because he is. That'd be hilarious to me.
違う。それは違うぞ、デルタ。未来の出来事はまだ何一つ決まっちゃいない。
That is kind of true.
未来とは自分たちの手で切り開いていくものだ。
いいこと言うじゃねえか、カルロス。
僕もそう思う。
俺も賛成だ。
じゃあ私も。
ミラ。
そうだ、そうとも。未来の可能性は無限だ。
私たちが力を合わせればどんなことだって。
人類が一人残らず滅びる。冗談じゃない。
そんな未来、私たちが変えてみせます。
何がおかしい？
だからそういうことだよ。
The effort.
何がそういうことなんだ。
私は別の歴史で動機は複合的なものだと言わなかったかね。想像してほしい。もし君たちがあのシェルターでの出来事を経験していなかったらどうなっていたかと。君たちは今未来を変えるという決意を固めた。その決意を生じさせることが今回の計画の目的の一つだったのだよ。すべては私の思惑通り。一人の犠牲者も出すことなく、私は人類が救われる未来を作ったのだ。腹立たしいかね。運命をもてあそばれたことに憤りを覚える。よかろう。ならば君たちに一つの選択肢を与える。
Another choice? What? A shotgun? Oh no, pistol. Kill him or not. So this is really the trolley problem for reals now.
君たちはその銃で
Shoot me.
今すぐ私を撃ち殺すこともできるし、
Yeah.
このまま黙って見逃すこともできる。約束しよう。マインドハックの力は使わない。選ぶのは君たち自身だ。さあどうする？
When will the story
引き
end?
金を引くか、私を逃がすか。これは君たちと私と人類の存亡をかけたディシジョンゲームだ。
Carlos is gonna pull the trigger? Really? Okay, that looks funny. That's an angle that looks funny. It's gonna be a cliffhanger. That's it. The credits rolls. Mountain of Knowledge, achievement unlocked. So we got all the cinema files unlocked. Is it gonna hit the credits? And then that's it? You don't get to see anything? I mean, I feel like they shouldn't give us the choice. Okay, so that is the credits. I know it's not fully ended yet, because I think that we didn't get the final achievement, which was the CDQ ending achievement, which I did remember seeing when I was looking at the achievement list on how far we were left. But, yeah, Zero Time Dilemma. Let's do a little bit of a little summary of how I feel, maybe? Yeah, because this is going to be the credits, I'll let it roll. I don't know if there will be another one after that, but we'll see. But I will probably start off by saying thank you guys for joining me. If you're not gonna stick around further than this credits, I don't know. I mean, there most likely will be something else on top of this credit roll. But if you guys want to check out this game for yourself, I'll leave links down below for this game. I can't believe Matt Mercer was in the English version. Yeah, I'll leave the links down below for all the versions of this game you can pick up for yourself. If you want to check this game out for yourself, there's very few things that I didn't cover, of course, but I think it's a fun puzzle game. If you watch the whole playthrough through me, I don't know. I mean, it is kind of very straightforward. There's not a whole lot. I mean, if anything, I'd rather it be that people who see the game, they're interested. At this point, they're still interested and they want to buy it and get the achievements and get the cards. There is Steam cards on this one if you play PC version. I don't know about the... I mean, the PlayStation and Xbox versions are probably just some other stuff with it. But if you want, your own sort of 100% easy going, like, achievement, then this could be it for you, I guess. But, yeah, like, check the game out and support the devs, I think. These guys definitely deserve the support regardless if you kind of felt like the game story went one way or another to your thing. What is graphic? I thought graphic is, engineering stuff, but I guess maybe graphics is probably, like, the art team? I'm very confused by that labeling of them. Background and graphics. Graphic D team. Yeah, it's kind of weird. Anyways, yeah, so that will be what I want to start off with. So thank you guys for joining me on this series. This series is not as long as Virtue's Last Reward, but obviously Virtue's Last Reward was way longer because there was so much to go through. But at least I don't have to... Like, at least it was half the size of what that game was. I feel like this game was a lot longer than it should have been. I felt like it could have went shorter, in my opinion. But this game definitely is kind of the closer, I guess I would say, for the whole story of the Zero Escape trilogy franchise. So, yeah, I think it's kind of an interesting way to end it. I'd say interesting way. I wouldn't say it's bad, but it's kind of okay. It's like it's not like like if 5 out of 10 is okay, I'd kind of give it like a 4.5, 4.75 out of 10 kind of feeling, because it's like, yeah, like I don't want to give it a label of like how I feel, like I think that like I don't want to give it a number. I want to justify why the number, but I want to go in detail of how I feel, but I want to wait till this credit rolls, because I think there is still a full ending we get to see for what they decide here. I think if it cuts off and that's it, whoo, this is quite a weird ending. I tell you, this is a weird ending, nudging onto like the developers of this game. It's like, wow, you guys chose to end it on a weird cliffhanger, and like I bet if they do this would cause them to really feel like there might be a fourth game in the future. But I just don't. I feel like after playing through all 3 games and technically 100%ing pretty much all of them in a sense, I feel like it just doesn't make sense to go and make a 4th game out of this, because it feels like the series has dragged on too long, and the writing has become a lot more harder for them because they have to make everything make sense, from the standpoint of what happens in 999 to Virtue's Last Reward to this, which has to take into account the first 2 games that came before it. And it's thanks to the support of our fans that this project was completed. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Zero Escape staff. I guess that's true. I mean, I bought the game, so I'm glad I supported the devs by buying the game. Oh. The final decision. Achievement unlocked. Really? I'm getting goosebumps from how sad that ended. Oh. Shifter. Achievement unlocks. Collecting all the fragments, essentially. Yeah, I'm gonna save it on the last point. That would give us the last icon with the eyeball, which is the truth eyeball, whatever. That's it. Wow, that was it. They're just gonna let us just sit there and do nothing with it. Yeah, I mean, it did make sense that it just stopped there. Wow. So I was right to just let the credits roll. So there's really no extra scene for that. Really? Well, even yet the game credit says, "Hey, this is the last leg of the road. Like, this is the last thing. Leave it to a mystery." I guess it. Okay, well, yeah. To kind of start on, actually, there is files here we need to read. Okay, let me go into the files here, and then I'll just exit out of it. Sure, why not? I just want to see the cinema files. I know I have one quest file missing, but I want to read the cinema files here because there's like a few that I wanted to get through. And then I'll exit off of that. Jeezums, what the frick? Post payoff. So they're just not gonna put their efforts into making an animation to close out the story. Also, there's one quest thing that I'm missing, so I'm not sure yet. My suspicion is that this one is a particular note or something that I'm missing off of one of the puzzle room, because you had to like deliberately do the thing. I think it might be the pod room. No, never mind. I have the note from the pod room. I need to look it up. I did look it up briefly, but I wasn't sure what I was missing, so I need to probably revisit this on the last one. I think it's because you have to look into something specific. This is the achievement, the final achievement that many people miss, because there's this one file, I bet, that just seems to be very hard to miss, or very easy to miss, that people will probably miss out on that last quest item. It's probably like very out of the way, like it just really just needs to look for it, like really scan it really hard. Alright, let's read these cinema files. Doesn't seem like there's anything to do with Diana, Phi, or Sigma, even though they're technically a family in a weird way. The day is bright and clear. A girl in a white dress strolls along the beach. Is this his sister? The wind's tossing her long blonde hair playfully. Yeah, so it's his sister. Up until half a year ago, she had been confined to a bed. Oh, she recovered. Carlos's eyes still tear up every time he see her smile. Come on, Carlos. You don't always have to help me. That's the point of my rehab. Oh, you're right. Sorry, Maria. Carlos brushes her hair out of her face. It's definitely not the summer sun that's making him act out of sorts. It's the fact that his sister is is here standing before him. Maria grins up at him. What would Akane and Junpei say if they saw you all being fussy like this? It's fine. They understand how important you are to me. Both you and Junpei put your lives on the line. That was a different history, but going through that means we know how to treat reverie syndrome, I think it's called. I can't believe we have the ability to jump through space-time, and I'm just glad that you're able to control it now. It's all because Carlos met Akane and Junpei, and that Maria was able to recover. He wishes he could show them how well she was doing. Oh, dang it. Pressed the wrong one. You're thinking about them right now, aren't you, Carlos? What makes you say that? Because you're smiling. Carlos closes his eyes and with his unconscious smile, turns fond? They're just about your age. It kind of feels like I gained a brother and another sister. You're going to their wedding, aren't you? Oh, they're getting married. Yeah, and you're coming with me, but there's something Carlos needs to do first, back when the three of them parted ways. I'll be waiting to hear from you when you locate that terrorist. Oh, so they didn't end up killing Delta. Carlos held his right hand out towards Akane and Junpei, and the other two grabbed onto it with their own. There will be no way of knowing if Delta was telling the truth, but if he was, one fanatic would kill off all the humanity. Akane and Junpei vowed to find this person, and Carlos offered to help. He can still feel the strong bond between the three of them, their hands clasped together tightly. I suppose I better get used to talking more before the wedding, huh? Holding her hair on her face, Maria reaches out to her brother, who takes her hand in his, and they continue walking down the beach. The same blue sky above them stretches over friends Carlos knows he can rely on. So it sounds like they let the guy go, I'm guessing. Junpei sits upon a white sofa, somewhere within the secret location of Crash Keys, twiddling his thumbs, or a pen and sighing. What else should I say? Laying on the table in front of him is a half-written letter. Suddenly, Akane pops up behind them. What are you doing, Junpei? She's playfully teases. Gah! Junpei dives for the letter, but she snatches it from the fingers and begins reading. Let's see. Carlos, without you, Akane and I would have never gotten together. Thank you. Is this an invitation to the wedding? No, it's mostly different. It's definitely not. Okay. He makes a grab for the paper, but Akane quickly moves it out of reach. It's just a progress report. Junpei mutters, okay, yeah, I mentioned the wedding, but the date hasn't been set yet. I have a promise to you and your brother. We should get married until we've dealt with the fanatic. Akane's face flushes bright red. She suddenly hastily hides her face behind the letter and goes back to reading. I like nothing more than to get the approval of blessings of our old friends and those of you we met 6 months ago. Eyes wide, Akane glances on Junpei, avoids gaze, awkwardly snatches the back of his head. Interesting. So, it's been 6 months, and they decided to marry after that. Yeah, I better hurry up because I don't want to keep stretching this time. I still haven't even shared my thoughts entirely of it. The entirety of it. You know, there's a history where I keep searching for you, even after I'm old and Craigley, which is true. It still exists there somewhere, and when I think of that, sharp pain jolts through Junpei's face, and Kane's pinching his cheek. Ow, that hurts. What are you doing? To prove to you that this isn't a dream, she giggles. Kane giggles. You still can't believe we're together like this. Junpei shakes his head. You've changed a lot, Junpei. A year and a half ago, you were never this honest. It's like, how do I want to describe it? Like a dream? Huh? Junpei leans in and quickly pinches Akane. Oh, now you've done it. She darts forward and goes after Junpei with both hands, getting in a pinch wherever she can, and Junpei does the same. Once they started laughing very hard to stop, they keep going until they're out of breath. I guess this is all thanks to Carlos too. That's why I'm writing that thank you letter. Oh, on Akane's left hand, a ring glitters on her ring finger. Why is there no cinematic payoff, post payoff for Sigma and Phi and Diana? I'm confused. Hey, Maria, how are you feeling? Are you lonely? Come on, Eric, you visited last week. Eric smiles wryly and reaches out to Mira, not Maria. I don't know why I say Maria. Mira, with his left hand, Mira does the same, and their hands with matching silver rings align with one complex either side of the plexiglass window. So Mira went to jail? What? I brought a new guest to see you today. Eric shifts to the side of the head. A head pops into view. Hi, Mira. Long time no see. It's Sean, right? Yep, I'm happy you remembered. Behind Mira, the sun is shining through an iron-barred window, lighting up the visitor room. It's been a long time, Sean. It's good to see you. The smile appears on her face as real. Mira no longer needs a plaster on a fake one. When I heard you turned yourself in, I was really surprised. Eric was the one who convinced me. He said I should pay for my sins so we could be together. So that's why we got married in jail? That's a thing? Eric ducks his head shyly. Are you sure you're okay with this? Mira asks. He looks at her in confusion. Don't you regret marrying me? I did carve your heart out in another history. Isn't that what you said, Sean? Yeah, you did. Eric looks Mira straight in the eye. I've already told you this bunch of times I forgive you no matter what happens. Besides, you haven't killed me in this history yet, right? Yeah. Mira's lip twists wryly. I think she killed him twice, not once. But the Heart Rippers killed people already, so many. Sean, stop it. Eric turns angrily on Sean, and Mira's face falls into a frown, but Sean continues speaking. You turned yourself in, Mira, but that doesn't mean you've paid for all the crimes you did. I doubt the family and friends that were left behind would forgive you. Even if you were out on death row, there's no way you can clear your sins here. Mira grits her teeth. But there is a way to clear them. Well, not what you've already done, technically. You'll have to pay for those your whole life. That will never change. But maybe you can in another universe. So he's suggesting that she goes back in time all the way to the past, I guess? Suddenly, Sean's fist crashes through the plexiglass window. Ah! Who's screaming? Is that Sean? Mira jumps backwards while Eric is frozen in shock. What are you... Eric can't even finish the sentence speaking before Sean moves, jumping through the broken window. Oh! He kicks the outside wall of the visitor room, causing it to crumble and reveal a giant hole. An alarm immediately starts blaring, and police officers rushes into the room, but Sean darts forward and takes them all down in a blink of an eye. He'd hold his hand out to Mira. Let's go. Go where? I know where the transporter is being stored. Wait, what? So he's willing to transport Mira away? I'm so confused. You're saying we should go change history? Eric finally stutters. Sean nods to stop young Mira from committing murder. Mira, I'm pretty sure that's the only way you can clear your sins. Mira stares out through the hole in the wall at the horizon extending beyond. That is... No! That's... No! Okay, let me get out of here. I mean, we've already seen this. Yes. That is no! That breaks the point of why this whole game exists now at that point, right? I don't think they would have succeeded too, but I mean, it would change everything, or change a lot of things rather, for the whole game if that had happened truthfully. But yeah, that's it for Zero Time Dilemma, and that's it for the whole Zero Escape game. So I do apologize that I had to go through all that dialogue or the files. I'm going to try to spend the last 10 minutes, try not to spend too much more time on this last episode. But I kind of suspect that this episode would have been really long anyway, so kind of unfortunate. But let's start off by saying what do I feel about this game, specifically on Zero Time Dilemma. I feel like Zero Time Dilemma was, on its own, a decent story of a game. I think it's very decent. I wouldn't say, like, I'm not going to include any of the other stuff yet, but for me, I'd say that this game alone kind of just does what visual novel does, I guess, but it also gives you that sort of same-ish formula of the past two games, obviously. But I think that, like, this game's story felt like there's this fear that I have about how much holes to the plot that it will create, because as I said at the earlier parts for the credits, this game has a lot of baggage to try to take care of, from 999 to VLR, and they both have some big, like, things to carry with, and you have to make sure that it's not inconsistent with those two games whatsoever, because if you make some sort of small mistake, it just makes the whole thing unravel on its own. And worst of all, you're making this game alone is a lot more harder, because it's becoming more of a talking point for time travel, and that makes it even more harder, because you have to make sure the time travel makes more sense in parallel universe sense, or just like alternate history stuff. It's just, there's so much to it that I felt like it's so unwieldy that I feel like you're not gonna make it satisfactory for everyone. And I think that for me, I'm unfortunately on the side of a little bit of an unsatisfactory, because it felt like the game should have ended at VLR in a way, in my opinion, because leaving that at a mystery was already enough, but leaving a mystery on this point kind of made it smaller scoped in a sense. Like, it just left it at Delta being, is he alive, is he dead, because he did kind of state that he was, or hinted that he was the guy who was going to lead Free the Soul in a sense, but we don't know to what extent, if that's going to be, like, that's going to be true or not. We don't know. So that's kind of like where I was a little bit annoyed, a little bit, where they were trying to simplify everything to this one singular guy that caused all of this, and one singular event, which is Diana and Sigma just having to procreate. That was the weirdest part. This whole game was pigeonholed because two individuals decided to have a kid, or at least for VLR and Zero Time Dilemma. 999 had nothing to do with it. They had some other things going on, other implications that was going on, which, again, 999 on its own made more sense just as a standalone thing, but it was worst off when it brought in the Junpei and Akane characters, because it's just, they try to extend that sort of romantic relationship into 3-part series, but it just doesn't make sense to me personally, because it just kept going and going and going, and it just felt like there was no real satisfactory end until here. But it was all in words, not in, like, cinematic fashion, but all in words. It's just, I would have loved to hear that dialogue from them and not read it, because I have to assume how they felt when they were reading it together, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. The story alone in this game just didn't feel great, but it did do its job, if that's what the developers want, to kind of, like, single out this one thing into being this one person that is responsible for a lot of problems that happened in the last game and this game, and less so on 999. Well, it kind of had some implication of 999, because obviously it did say about the snail situation that caused a ripple effect on Akane, but it kind of felt like it was conveniently written here for some reason. I don't know. It just felt like the original insights of the whole situation didn't make sense of it a little bit, but I don't know. I kind of feel iffy about that. But yeah, now in talking about comparisons of this game compared to the other two games, VLR and 999, Zero Time Dilemma, I think I ranked my favorites out of it. I think my favorite is, I think my favorite is still 999. I don't know if I said my favorite entry was 999 in VLR, but I like 999 the most because it's very concise, it's very tight, it's tightly written. The whole story was tightly wrapped, nicely and neat, like a bow. Everything kind of resolved the way it did. It did leave some mystery, but it felt kind of like a more like whatever kind of mystery at the end, because Alice, which is that one freezing lady that ends up becoming a character in VLR for some reason, I think it was. I think that was the same one. Alice, on that hand, did not seem to be that important. It was just more of like a random, we told you she exists somehow for some reason. And it was kind of like a playful little thing. But then it ended up being an important character for VLR, which was kind of weird to me. But in reality, I just think that like 999 wrapped it up all nicely. The puzzles in that one was really interesting, and it was solvable, and it didn't require too much help to kind of solve it. It did have some parts where it was a little tough, but that's because you had to think of it in a different like perspective. And that's why I like 999 the most. VLR definitely would be my second one for sure, because it did have more puzzles, but the story was too complex and too unwieldy to the point where it made it very confusing and very like all over the place. I think that's why like VLR was one of the biggest games, because they put so much to it, but then it had really good puzzles, really good puzzles. Some of them were confusing, some of them were really good, I think, puzzles that were able to like get to the point. But I still enjoyed VLR's puzzle the most, in terms of like all these like different variations or different like sort of things going on, and it had a better setup for like the direction of the things. 999 did had good setup and it was tight, but I think VLR was a bit more bigger and expansive, but everything was like understandable. And of course, frankly, this game, Zero Time Dilemma, would be my last place of the list. I just feel like this is a game that I think if you really feel bored and you and you want to just get by with whatever it is, I think this is the game that kind of felt like it could have been given more time to have more newer looking puzzles, because unfortunately this game had a lot of repeating puzzles, like the spinning box and twisting around to make its pattern work, to sort of like knob puzzles, and they're like almost kind of similar to another thing. I don't know, it didn't feel like this game was really, and structurally the whole timeline, the flow line was really not kicking it off. I think the twist about how everybody was at a different time frame was cool, but that twist only works at the end, making it interesting. But then throughout the whole game was just the same repetitive feeling of like nothing was going to make me more interested in this game. It just makes me want to just try to quickly get through this as much as possible and try to get to this ending here. And I think the ending was definitely a good way to just kind of close out everything, but close out everything here and the other two games. But it just felt like it was just too much stuff coming into this that just made it harder for me. Like my expectations would become way higher to say, hey, can you clean this up quickly, or clean this up very succinctly, very, very, very well, and have it where it's satisfying to just say, okay, all of this is all ended the way that it is. So that was kind of like my biggest like annoyance with this game. I think it's just that it just didn't, unfortunately, let me quit as well because I get to go to the title here. It just didn't manage to do that for me, unfortunately. So that's kind of like the thing I have with it. But I would say that the developers did a good job at least trying to do something different, by actually creating cutscenes with actual full voice acting. That's actually at least really cool for once that they actually did that. Second thing is they also did was to clean up like the repeating stuff. Like they don't have too much repeating branches where you have to go through like your choices too much directly. I think the elimination of the whole multiple choice, constantly seeing the same outcome or seeing the same characters doing whatever was nicely cleaned, but I prefer what they did with VLR and 999, where the vote was there and it decides based on colors or based on your numbers to get to the next room. That was more cooler than what this did, unfortunately, as well. Like the way they set up the whole puzzle setups was pretty sad in this one, because I wanted, this complex, thing, but it's all, I'll say that it makes sense that it was really hard because by this point it's really hard to excuse how they're gonna do another puzzle about a door opening up for each character to get through without having to have all nine characters interacting with each other, because they basically isolated everyone into their own sections, which kind of sucks for the most part. So the dynamics between all the characters don't really play out at all until like more towards the end or the back half of the game. So that was what sucked the most. So the dynamics of all the characters are just focused on just 3 individuals per team, and that's it. And then the end is just whatever. And that kind of sucks a whole lot for this story as well too, because there's no sense of teamwork. It's just more sense of individuals being in their own team, having their own goals, and then trying to go for what they can to survive, or what they can to save as much people as they can without even thinking about if they are dead or not in their zone of time. Yeah, I think that's how I felt about the Zero Time Dilemma compared to everything else. Is that this is the weakest title, but I think that the effort was there. I really appreciate that they tried to wrap everything up to some sort of like a succinct ending, or an ending that just tightly gets into the point of who's responsible for all this, and or what kind of happened in the past that affected the whole game to exist. But I think that if anything, I think Zero Time Dilemma could have been either a bit better, or either didn't need to happen, because I feel like at the end of VLR, it already felt like it was good enough to like say that they went to go and save whatever they could. But I mean, it was kind of confusing because at the end of VLR, we had Akane and Sigma knowing the assignment and went out of their way to go and try to solve it. So we could just assume or make assumptions on how to save those people, I think. Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, other than that, thank you guys for watching. I don't have any more to say about Zero Time Dilemma. I don't know. Art, obviously art was really good too here. I think the art and the backgrounds and the models of all the characters are fantastically made too. I think the 3D models are actually really cool because they didn't have a full-size model until this game, so that's another thing I would say is really nice about this game so far. A lot of work for the rigging, I'm pretty sure. Music, I didn't get to hear much of. I turned it off, of course, due to copyright, just in case. And yeah, this is mostly story. Gameplay was pretty good to a point. So yeah. But yeah, that's all I got to say. That's all I have to say about Zero Time Dilemma. Again, if you guys want to get this game for yourself, I left a link down below in the description box for you guys to check out for all the versions of this game. I really think this game is still worth the time, regardless if you didn't like the story or not, like myself. But I think it's still worth trying something that is quite different than what the other games was doing. It's still kind of like competent of a visual novel / puzzle kind of game, so it's still at least decent enough to keep your brain scratching and kind of get your head rolling. I think there's less sciencey stuff in this game though, in my opinion. Compared to 999, where it was all story about the history and science stuff, and then the VLR was the same thing, like very heavy sci-fi and sciencey stuff. But then here it's like very few times they just sprinkle that kind of thing in, probably because they ran out of the topics, I bet. But yeah, other than that, thank you guys for watching. This has been Zero Time Dilemma and Zero Escape Games. I'll leave the outros with one of the links to one of the playlists to the previous game, which is VLR, and hopefully we'll see ourselves into other games. What's next after this? I will be jumping into a new game. It's probably to another game that I think that most people don't. I don't know. I don't know what to say. The next series will be a game that I already know I'm going to be playing, and it's just not going to be this kind of series. It will be a different type a little bit, kind of similar-ish. And then, of course, topics of AI Somnium, which is technically from the same team of this game series. I think it is. AI Somnium. I don't know if I'm gonna jump into that. I feel like it would be right up my alley because it's, you know, a mystery game, detective work, into the futuristic future. I think there's already like 3 entries: Nirvana and I forgot what the first one was. Nirvana is the second one. The first one was darn it, what was the first one called? But yeah, AI Somnium is the series, I think, that came from the same developers here. I'm not sure if I'm gonna jump into that because, frankly, I don't know how I feel about jumping into another series from the group yet. I think it's because I feel like I want to play that for myself a little bit, but at the same time, I don't know if people want to see other people play it sometimes because reasons. Like these kind of games kind of make me like not sure, make me feel not sure about like doing videos of it. Not because I don't like these games, I really like these games a lot. That's why I chose to play it on the channel, of course. But of course, I don't know if I feel like playing more from the team because I just want to play that on my own time instead of recording. Because I enjoy games just as much as I do, or more greatly, when I play on my own than I do on recordings. Because sometimes I get too distracted and I don't notice something and I just lose information about something because I get distracted to commentate over playing the game. So, yeah. But anyways, unknown future for AI Somnium series. I don't know. Don't ask me any of the questions when I feel like it, or if I feel like the time is right. Maybe it might happen. If not, then so be it for that. But the next game will be something else. It will be entirely different series of thing, and it will probably be around the same ballpark of what's going on here. And then, or maybe ballpark, I guess. More narrative heavy, I guess. But otherwise, that's pretty much it for the series, and that's it for this game series, and that's it for this particular video series. So I hope you guys enjoy the game, or nobody minds. Other than that, if you guys aren't going to continue, then hope you guys have a great, amazing day, good night, or whenever watching this. And I do apologize for running up an hour, as I didn't like this, but it's a closer. Anyways, Roz out.